Oh my, look at this, right. I'm going to bring you up I forgot to say, I'm Bhavini Patel, just so you know, in case you don't. And I will be here trying to facilitate the mic alongside my beautiful, beautiful friend and sister called Marvina. She'll be here soon. Whoa, she's here. Whoa, here we go. I have the pleasure and honor of introducing this beautiful queen who's come all the way from Leeds to show how important it is that the voices of people are heard and that we don't go into this silently. Welcome to Marvina from BLM Leeds and United for Black Lives.
When I say kill, you say the bill. Kill! The bill! Kill! The bill! When I say kill, you say the bill. Kill! The bill! Kill! The bill! This is what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! This is what equality sounds like! This is what equality sounds like! This is what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! This is what equality sounds like! This is what equality sounds like! Big up to all of you that turned out today to kill this fucking bill! I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit tired of this little fuckery government and what they think they're doing. I want to be able to say this really clearly. These guys are not fit to govern. Those people, this is the only voice I want to hear. This is the only people that matter. And we have to be able to acknowledge what we've achieved. The unity we have in this coalition, the voices of those who are marginalized, the voices of those who know what oppression looks like, the voices of those who have stepped on these streets, who have made their way down, who have taken up space. We're reclaiming our time. We're making sure we're getting back our time. When I say black life, you say matter. Black lives. Matter. Black lives. Matter. When I say black life, you say matter. Black lives. Matter. Black lives. Matter. For those throughout history, everything we wanted to get, we had to fight for. Everything we have today, we had to work for. Nothing was given, anything was never given to us for free. But one thing I have to say to you all, we need to stand united with our voices. Those of us in the left, they're trying to call us terrorists and we're not having none of that. And if they're saying that we are aggregated terrorists, then I want to be the baddest one I can be. And I want to be able to take space. I want to be able to fight for my Gypsy, Romani, and traveling community and the new traveling community. Because when I say drive, you say to survive. Drive! To survive! Drive! To survive! When I say drive, you say to drive. Drive! To survive! The reason we have to do that is because the GRT community are going to be persecuted by this bill. That means that their voice and influence, they can't even have a stable space. They can get persecuted for just living. Most of us are fighting for basic human rights. This is not even like luxury things that we're asking for. These are the basic human rights. And I just want you to know, Black Lives Matter is working with XR. It scares them, doesn't it? We're looking about climate justice. It scares them, doesn't it? So when I say extinction, you say rebellion, extinction. Rebellion. Extinction. Rebellion. When I say extinction, you say rebellion, extinction. Rebellion. Extinction. Rebellion. We've got some amazing speakers today. We've got speakers from all over today. Give some love to this beautiful, phenomenal BSL interpreter. Can you see this queen? When any of you are organizing your protest, let's make sure we think about disabled rights. Let's think about the voice and influence and how they fought for their rights. So always make sure you create an intersectional protest. Make sure you think about how does the other get to access this information. and be inclusive. This is not a tick box activity, because if they come for one of us, they come for all of us. So if you're sitting there saying that this is not your problem, I guarantee you it is. So do not keep silent. I'm seeing some familiar faces in the space. Big up, big up, big up. Loving you. I need all of us to become better allies to each other. I need all of us to find ways that we join our campaigns and build movements of movements. I need it when we talk about climate justice, we look at it from different point of views. I want it when we talk about LGBT rights, it's about all our LGBT plus community. I want you to take that opportunity to make sure you ask people their pronouns. I want you to take that opportunity to ensure that you keep safe. This protest is just what we want, our right to be able to protest. So without further ado, I'm going to try and introduce our next speakers. Where's Bavine? Can I get... So, the next speaker I'm about to bring on is someone who has used their voice to really influence change. Whether it's through writing creatively, whether it's through acting. He was at COP26. When I say COP, you say COP out. You can do that really loud. When I say COP, you say COP out. COP!
COP out!
COP!
COP out!
When I say COP, you say COP out. COP!
COP out!
COP!
COP out!
Fenty is an amazing, inspirational, life-changing individual. He's the king in everything he does. When I want you to give him the biggest love you can give to Fenty Balogun.
Hi. How you doing? Oh. It's not high enough. Oh, that's better, isn't it? Ooh. Yo, what's up? What's up? That's what's good. Listen, my freestyle clinic isn't as good, so I've written it down. So if you see me looking down loudly, innit? Okay. My name is Fenty Balogun. A lot of you probably never heard of me. I act, I write, I do activism when I can. And listen, I'm scared. I'm scared because I've never in my lifetime known such a quiet violence. You Google this shit and it's like, how did I miss this? How does everyone not go ballistic? Attempted a noisy protest that's disrupted 10 years. Defacing a statue, 10 years. Online posting, blacklisting. I'm scared and I don't know what to do. The right to protest is fundamental. It's a human right. It's how we hold governing parties accountable. In trials like the Mangrove 9, the first public admission of racism within the police, it was protesting that played the part in swaying public opinion and pushing that case. It is protesting that makes us feel solidarity. It is protesting that reminds us of our power as citizens. And it's exactly that power that they fear. They want to get rid of it. So for every person like me who has ever felt powerless or questioned the point of protesting, see this as evidence. See this as verification of your power and your right, because the willingness to oppress is not new. But this level of assault is unprecedented in recent history in this country. For every right that we have ever had, we have gotten not by asking for it. We have done more. In 1963, when it's still legal to discriminate against a person for the color of the skin, we fought against that. Until 1967, homosexuality was a sexual offense. We fought to change that. We live in a time where governments make housing unaffordable, where oil companies are being subsidized whilst our planet is on the brink. when the NHS is being strict and our healthcare workers are on the edge. There is too much to be held accountable for. So now we do as we have done throughout history. We organise. We organise. We talk. We strike. We fight. We fight. That's all I've got written down, isn't it? What am I experiencing? It's the first time I've done this in a while. It's kind of mad. It's so nice. I think when I think about protests, I used to think, what's the point, as I said, and one of the things I never understood is that it recharges us. Literally, look around now. Look at the people next to you. Look at the people behind you. Every single person that's here, well, some people may know who they are, feels exactly the same way you do. Is scared in the same way you are. Wants to fight in the same way you do. Every single person next to you, behind you, in front of you. Not just here, but online, watching from home, reposting, talking, tweeting. We are not alone. We have never been alone. We are on the shoulders of giants, fighting this fight for years. Let that never be erased. Let you never be erased. I wrote this poem and I feel like I'm just gonna do it. Yeah. Alright, I'll go slowly. If you're feeling irrelevant, let me remind you your heaven sent. To bliss this world feeling malevolent, to strive for the elegance, come looking definite. Know that your place in this world is important and intelligent. Yes, you're intelligent. Don't be tricked to believe you're irrelevant. Boy, it's relevant. So be diligent. Show love to my immigrants. In crisis, you're killing it. Pandemics, they care when your value was limitless. Look, we're marking the differences. Because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for them. The add to wealth is worse for them. Can I live? Can I live though? Can I live? Can I live though? I just want to live. Can I live though? Can I live? Can I live though? Working class revolution, yes, we can work for them. Hard-working people need a future we can earn for them. It's so simple, our knowledge just needs some surfacing. Individual action's a term that needs repurposing. I'm new to the game, but my presence is necessary. I can clean cut with the bars because it's all looking pretty crazy. I'm intolerant to the lies and I'm reducing all my dairy. No, I'm not a vegan, but the situation is scary, so I stopped eating meat and fish, and clearly I moved on to a different way of thinking sincerely. Took on all the actions adhering to the theory to recycle, not buy, not fly, buy clothes, buy yearly, and clearly there's more of these politicians are gonna hear me. Can I live? Can I live though? Can I live? Can I live though?
I'm getting old, you know, I'll just climbing and coming down my ankles. But anyway, can we give some love to Fenton? We need to be able to use our art and creativity as a political tool. Art, music has always been a tool for us to protest. It's always a way for us to use our voice. For anyone in this space, that I want you to think about whatever little gift you have, little voice you think you have, you can use it to make a difference. You can do something. There's no option of saying, I don't know what to do. You can use your voice, your art. You can use anything you have. We all have little privileges. I'm a privileged Black woman. I'm about to introduce a queen of Merseyside. One of those that you just need to know about. When I say Chantal, you just need to understand that a goddess is about to come on stage. In fact, when she speaks, you just get chills. All the way from Liverpool just for us. And you know what this bill is trying to do? Us traveling from wherever we're coming from. we get 54 weeks in prison traveling to a protest. That's what this bill is telling us, you know. Does that even make sense? It doesn't make no sense. So I want you to give some love to Chantal Lunt from Merseyside!
Right, let's go. When I say Tories, you say out. Tories, out. Tories, out. When I say Tories, you say out. Tories, out. Tories, out. Kill that bill. Kill that bill. Yeah, kill that bill. Kill that bill. Kill that bill. Kill that bill. So why has this bill happened? Let's start there. So last year we seen BLM, we seen Extinction Rebellion on the streets in our thousands, our tens of thousands, our hundreds of thousands saying we need to stop. We need to stop killing black people systemically, socially, described as social murder, what a lot of these government policies do to black people, and we need to stop killing our planet. The message could not have been any louder. We were literally at the door of Parliament crying out. And what did they do? How did the government respond? They responded with legislation to keep us quiet and to infiltrate and disrupt our movement. First with the Chiz Act, which gave the police and MI5 and MI6 agents the power to infiltrate our movements and commit any crime against us, just stopping at murder and rape in order to disrupt working class unity. Then with the PCSC bill, which, as if it couldn't be worse, has now introduced about 1 million legislations which stop our freedom of movement, which stop our freedom to even touch a statue, which is probably getting more protection than most women right now. The current conviction rate for rape is 1.6%. And yet if we're scared, we're told to flag a bus down. Flag a bus down. They're watching the wrong people, and we need to ask, who do the police serve and who do they protect? And I'll tell you, they serve the elite, they serve those in there, they serve the government, they serve policy, and there are two classes in this country. We've got the working class. I know a lot of people like to think the middle class, but if you work to put food on the table, if you work to make money, and if you stop working, you're not putting food on the table or keeping a roof over your head, then you are working class. Now, if you take that money, you don't need to work, you don't need to do all that, then you are ruling class. And the ruling class are shook because, like you can see right now, we outnumber them thousands and millions to one. And that makes them a little bit scared. So what they're trying to do is silence, disrupt, ruffle, infiltrate us, split us up, and stop us from taking to the streets. And this is the last form of resistance that we currently have. Look at the mainstream media. They don't even challenge what they're doing anymore. Look at the police. They're just tools of the oppressor. Look at what is happening right now. Back in the day, protest, let me tell you how powerful protest used to be. Back in the day, if 1,000, 1 million, 100 people took to the streets and stood outside Parliament and said things need to change, our elected leaders came down and they changed things because we elect them to listen to us. But how are they going to listen if the legislature to silence us? How does that work? It doesn't work. You don't want to listen to us. That's what this legislation is about. This legislation is about silencing us because they no longer think that they answer to us, the people. And we need to remind them that they do answer to us, the people. It's a genius move, really, though. It's a genius move. I've got to give it to Priti Patel. She has caused the most harm towards ethnic minority people. She has caused the most harm to ethnic minority people. Yet to use someone who's not only a woman, but someone who looks like us to gaslight us on an institutional level. Shame on her! 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 I might use that too. Shame on her! Now, sorry, I'll just let me sort this wire out. 1 second, 1 second. So basically, what they're trying to do is criminalise our activities. If you look at most of the laws, they're built to criminalise the activities of the working class, and this is all it's doing. Does anyone know that they built a super prison in the last couple of years? A privately run super prison? Who do you think they're planning to fill that up with? Do you think they're planning to fill it up with the ruling class, or are they planning to fill it up with us? We've got to get people in that prison.
And they've built legislation. What we're doing is not illegal. But what they have to do is criminalise just working class activities. Using your voice, one of the most inconspicuous things you can do as a single person, can see you locked up for 10 years. They're criminalising our actions, they're criminalising our voices, they're criminalising any time we want to speak up and challenge what they're doing, they're criminalising us. That's not right, that's not a democracy, that is literally a dictatorship. This is worse than it was in the 60s, and we need to wake up. When I saw the legislation, I wanted to scream. I wanted to come out on the streets, and that's what we need to do. Continue to scream, continue to come out on the streets and challenge them. Because in terms of what is legal and what is morally right, there is a bit of a difference, guys. Because one time, it was legal to own someone looking like me. One time, it was illegal for someone like me to wear trousers as a woman. It was illegal for me to go into a workplace. One time, those officers upheld laws that meant a man and another man couldn't be in love with each other. And one time, apartheid was not only illegal, but something that was actively encouraged by the Tory party. So what we need to say is the law has not always been on the side of what is morally right. And what is morally right is what we need to stand up for now. So right now, we need to ask ourselves, if this law does pass, are we going to carry on protesting? Tell me again, are we going to carry on protesting if this law? Is it going to stop us? I heard that they were doing a blacklist and I said, baby, I am the blacklist. But the main thing that we need to know is what they're going to try to do is turn us against each other, and that's the biggest weapon they used against the working class. That's the most powerful weapon they use against us, is to turn us against each other. As a class, we have more in common with the migrants escaping the wars that we cause to come to this country than we do with those who occupy Parliament. We have more in common as a class, and don't let them turn us against each other, because when we all fight, things change. Voting gave us a weekend. Voting gave us a 5-day working week. Voting gave us protest gave us women's rights. Protest gave us the right to vote. It was only when we took to the streets and changed ourselves to things and said we are not moving, we are not going quietly into the night, that we won these rights. And we cannot let them slide. The issue is we don't get to keep them. They're not permanent. The things that we win are not permanent. The second we sit down, the second we stop fighting, they try and take it away from us. And that brings me to the pandemic, a legitimate pandemic, a legitimate crisis. While we were all sat at home like they told us to, they brought in all that legislation that I've just told you about. They abused an emergency to shave away at our rights. And that reminds me of fascism. Emergency powers should be challenged at every level. These powers that they have brought in, the power not to take to the street because of COVID, the power not to stand in groups of more than 2, we cannot let them use those powers, because as we can see, while we weren't seeing our relatives in hospital, while we were told to sit down, while black and minority people were being fined at a disproportionate rate for breaking COVID legislation, they were having a bloody party in Parliament. Is that right? No! At the same time, you can lose your passport for doing coke on the weekend, yet nearly 8 out of 10 bloody toilets in Parliament are full of coke. You need to see one of them off the face, but they will never lose the passport. They will never feel the force of the law the way we feel the force of the law. It is literally one rule for them and another rule for us. Are we going to continue to put up with it? No! No, we are not. Now is the time for change. And we are not going to go quietly into the night. We are not going to accept this. And I don't care about coming out in January, February, March, April, May. I don't care if you make protest illegal. I will be here every single day opposing this bill. I hope that we can stand united. So before I go, should we do a little round of the people united will never be defeated? Let's go. The people united will never be defeated. 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 Who's streets? I don't know who's streets. I don't know who's streets. I don't know who's streets. Now tell me this.
So I'm just going to bring this really quickly into it. I've got Mary Ellen who's going to speak. We want to be able to look and celebrate Deepak in every way. We want to be able to talk about disabled rights. We want to be able to look at how this bill is going to affect them. There's an intersectional list of people that are speaking today. It's packed. We're going to make sure we go through all of them. But I have to just say thank you. Thank you for being in this space, Brianna. Thank you for using your voice and influence. Thank you for always trying to attend each and every of this protest. Thank you for putting yourself in the firing line all the time. It's not easy to come to these spaces. It's not easy to use your voice and influence. But I just want us to give so much love to Mariana!
Thank you. Can you all hear me? Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Thank you for inviting me to speak today, and thank you for all of you for being here to listen and to carry these voices and these messages out into the world. As a disabled person, as a retired nurse, as a woman, as a person of colour, as a person with disabilities, as a person with a mixed race, on so many levels, I really feel it's so important that I'm here today and that I'm speaking today. I've been speaking to my fellow DPAC members, and there is an absolute terror. This bill has struck terror into us. I don't know if you've seen it, but there is a whole load of new super prisons being built, and those super prisons have disabled accessible spaces being made in them. They're gunning for us, they're coming for us. And already disabled people have had an enormous hurdle to climb over just to be able to come out and speak. The majority of disabled people are terrified of coming out and speaking, because if we're seen outside, that is enough for the DWP to cut our benefits, to cut our lives. Silencing us with the terror of, if you speak, then you must be well enough to be able to work. You must be well enough not to have disability benefits. This government came to power in 2010. In 2010, DPAC was formed in response to their cuts and their austerity. DPAC said, your cuts will kill. Your austerity will kill. And we were told, you're scaremongering. You're imagining it. So in 2011, just a year later, under a Freedom of Information request, they were asked, well, tell us then, how many people have died? You say no one's dying. We say people are dying. How many people have actually died? We'll give you a time frame of just 6 weeks. 6 weeks from the day. 6 weeks, is that better?
No.
Six weeks from the day
that's
that
worse. That's worse.
6 weeks from the day that you took away people's disability benefits and told them they were fit for work. How many of those people were dead within 6 weeks? Under a Freedom of Information request, they had to respond. They responded, and the figure is seared into my brain. I was horrified. I was horrified to see that this government admitted that 10,600 disabled people had died that year in less than a year. 10,600. And when 10,600 disabled people are murdered and left without any food, without any medicine, without any hope, without any housing in their last 6 weeks of their life, and it's not even been mentioned in the mainstream media, I realized we have an enormous problem. We have genocide in plain sight. Murderers! And this government and its billionaire-controlled media were not telling the truth. They were not telling us that even one death had happened, let alone 10,600. I was already an activist. I was already a human rights campaigner. I was already a disability rights campaigner. This 10,600 was what really galvanized me into I cannot stay silent anymore. I have to keep speaking the truth, telling the truth, sharing the truth until everybody knows that this government is killing its own disabled people. By the time the coronavirus had arrived, there were 250,000 disabled people's deaths. 250,000. That's the same number of disabled people who'd been killed by the Nazis before they even came for the Jews.
Shame!
This is genocide in plain sight. This government did not need to build concentration camps. They could kill us in our own homes. They could starve us to death. And if you don't believe me, people didn't get starved to death. Look up Deepak. Find the people who have been starved to death. Call for justice for each of those people. 250,000. They're not a statistic. Each of them is a person, a human being, left to die by this government. But it's not just disabled people in this country. It's disabled people all over the world. And when they're taking away our right to protest, it's not just this government. It's governments all over the world that are attacking our democracy. Because governments all over the world are meeting at Davos every year and with the people, with the money, the fossil fuel trade, the arms trade, the bankers, the insurance industry, the people who are stealing our NHS from us. They meet every year and they discuss how are they going to keep making profits. They see every crisis and every calamity and every emergency as another avenue to make some more money, another way to take back power that we have fought for generations and hundreds of years. People have fought and died for the rights and the freedoms and liberties that we have. They see these crises as a way of taking back that power and control that we have fought so hard to gain. But they are the few and we are the many. They forget that they work for us. They forget that our wages pay their taxes, or our taxes pay their wages. And they forget that they can do whatever they want, but we will continue to do whatever we need to be able to keep our freedoms and liberty and lives, to protect our planet, to protect each other, to stand in solidarity. They believe in divide to conquer, divide to control, divide to enslave, divide to exploit, divide to kill. We have to believe in unity, in unite with the refugees, unite with the immigrants, unite with disabled people, unite with the old people, with the young people, with the birds, the dolphins, the whales, the bees. We are part of nature. We are all connected. And when I say we're all connected to them too. They weren't born thinking they must amass wealth. They weren't born thinking that their color or their elitism or their land or their titles made them separate and different. They have been indoctrinated. They have been robbed. Their schooling system teaches them today you debate from this side of the debate, tomorrow you debate from that side of the debate. What you think and what you care about and what your heart tells you, you cut straight off from that because you can't have any of that. To be able to toe the party line, you must be able to debate from one side or the other. So today they can be for Brexit, tomorrow they can be completely the opposite. Today they can say we love our NHS and clap for our NHS, and tomorrow they can leave our NHS people without enough funds to even eat. They and we have all been robbed by a system that is designed by the few, for the few, to keep amassing wealth from the many for the few. So, where does it leave us? It leaves us realizing that all the causes we care about are part and parcel of the one and same issue. All caused and driven by the same greed for money. The greed for money that is indoctrinated into the few. They weren't born thinking that. So it's knowledge. We have to reach the knowledge of the heart, the knowledge of that we're all connected, and find ways to reach their hearts. Find ways to reach all our hearts too. Because the divide has told us that we can't keep letting immigrants in because there's not enough NHS beds, there's not enough schools, there's not enough food, there's not enough. That fear of not enough is what's driving them. But there is enough. There is enough for every single person on this planet, for every single need of this planet. There's just not enough for the greed. So thank you so much for listening to me. And just keep the unity. Fight for equality. Equality is central. Equality of everything on this planet, of everything on this planet. And thank you for having me. Thank you.
This is what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
This is what equality sounds like.
This is what equality sounds like.
This is what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
This is what equality sounds like.
This is what equality sounds like.
Not gonna lie to you, I can't stop crying because I don't know whether these guys think that we actually like to come outside and be protesting just to live. I'm only doing this for my kids to be able to know that I went down in history, that I fought for their voice and influence. I'm only doing this because I have no option. I'm tired. I would like to be able to be spending this time with my children. But guess what? I don't want them to have a future where they don't know they can fight this corrupt government who only know how to kill, steal, and destroy. And we need to be able to call them on their lies on a regular basis. My children deserve to have the right to be able to live, to be able to fight, to be able to speak, to be able to breathe. And this is the time we have to do this. And if we don't stand united in this conversation, the left, I have to say a message to the left. While we fight with each other, they have a party on our bodies. While we say we don't like each other, they find ways to destroy all of us. They pit us against each other, spin lies about each other, tell us why we shouldn't work with each other. But guess what? The people united can never be defeated. You don't understand it. The people united would never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. United will never be defeated. I'm about to introduce, I like calling her auntie because of the culture, Auntie Sarah Calloway from Women of Color. I want you all to give some love to the one and only. History has always seen her do so much work. And be honest to you, I want you to show her this much love. Shout out to Auntie Sarah!
Thank you, Marvina. Thank you, Marvina. I'm very moved by your introduction, and I just wanted to say how fantastic we all look. I'm just blown away that people have turned out in this cold weather, and this gives us hope that we can defeat this
hated and dreadful and cruel bill. I just wanted to start by saying two things. The brother Fahinti, who spoke at the very beginning, I wanted to big up his film. It's called I Can't Live. And he's made of, it included people of color's experience of the climate movement, the global south, the slave trade. And he gave a platform to grassroots organizations who often don't have a place. I'm just going to move this banner. He gave a space to grassroots organizations who often don't give a space, and it was shown in COP. If you haven't seen it, please try to see that film. The second thing I wanted to say is, on many of our hearts is the boy whose name is Arthur Labinho Hughes. He was murdered by a violent father. His mother was in prison because she had fought off a domestic violator, and her son was left in the hands of a violent man and tortured to death. The authorities knew, and the police knew, and the social workers knew. And the police threatened the family that if they went to the home to see about the boy, they would be arrested under COVID rules. And this is just one of the reasons why we don't believe the police need any more powers. They need to use the powers they have to defend us, and particularly women and children, from violence, which is absolutely epidemic, as we know. Okay, our group, Women of Color in the Global Women's Strike, we're a network. We're in the South and North. We're from indigenous communities. We're from immigrant communities. We fight against racism, sexism, overwork, police violence, domestic violence. We fight against war, and also we fight against the women's unpaid work, unwaged work, which is massive. Our main demand is for a care income for people that look after other people and the planet. And we know that women do so much of that work, especially mothers. Mothers are absolutely at the forefront of every justice campaign, and often invisible. And that includes police violence, as we know, which is rampant. Okay, we want an end to the widespread criminalization and imprisonment of people of color, of sex workers, of trans people, of young people, and more.
Greetings, folks. So I'm live here in London outside Westminster for the police bill protest, as I mentioned earlier today. Joined by multiple different groups here. You can see in the crowd here tonight. There's a big freedom presence in the corner here as well, attending this bill. So there's people from the left, the right, the centre, the up, the down, tackling this issue, which has been debated in the House of Lords tonight. But I'm going to interrupt this broadcast. I understand that the Prime Minister is about to go live shortly to talk about Plan B. So I want to make sure I capture that information so I can report on it. But some really interesting parallels here. If you think about a sickness, you might have lots of different symptoms, but underneath the symptoms there's a root cause. And it seems quite interestingly tonight that some of the issues that have been spoken about by groups that are outside of the freedom movement, if you will, have the same root cause. And I do feel that if we're able to unite the people, regardless of the identity politics, then all of a sudden we've certainly become the many, and they definitely become the few. So I'm going to share some wider reflections on tonight's protest here in Westminster. I'm going to tune into the Prime Minister's broadcast. I do understand that it's due to occur at 6 p.m. If it doesn't occur at 6 p.m, I will tune back into the footage here live in London at the Kill the Bill protest, representing multiple different groups here right outside Westminster. You can see behind me. I think there it is, Westminster right here. But I'll be back live shortly after the Prime Minister's statement to reflect on the latest news regarding Plan B. So thanks for tuning in. Please do subscribe to the Pandemic Podcast if you're tuning in for the first time. danjgregory.com/pandemic. Share content almost daily basis, giving a critical analysis on the situation as it pertains to the pandemic and the political response, as well as a multitude of activism and forthcoming spiritual and personal development content to help us not only resist the situation that we're facing, but also to reinvent and reimagine the world as we know it. So thank you very much for tuning in. Please do share this broadcast. I'll be back very shortly.